Welcome back to Satisfactory. We are just wrapping up a massive AFK session that came after a massive stream, which I think it's better if I just show you a little recap. And all we're going to do is transition each building that we've created into one massive building like this, like each factory module. So yeah, that's our power production, completely handled. And this is going to be generally the style of every machine in the factory. As self-contained as possible. The only difference is going to be everything else needs an input from a miner, which has to be on a node. So what we'll do is we'll put the miner on the node and have it, like, we had a miner here. We'll have it put in, like that. That's the only part that's going to be, like, super duper extra efficient. Also, I know that looks ugly. We have the customizer, so we can actually like make things look good to some degree at the moment, but we can't really make things look good. Like, we can't make them look really, really good. My goal on this stream, by the way, is to stay at the exact same progress level, but have everything be way more organized. So I can go over the basics of like production and stuff in the video and then show up in the next episode like, hey, we did the thing and it looked ugly. Now here's the thing looking good. Ooh, new type of power slug. Oh, but that means we need another. And I'll explain why in a second.
Research completed. Yellow power slugs are further into their life cycle than blue power slugs, and thus have more potential energy stored. They can now be processed into power shards.
So now everything will run at max efficiency into these three chests. Plates, rods, screws. One thing we're going to do really quick is make a big conveyor line over to here into this merger, which means all that extra iron we stored is going to go directly into the fix-it awesome thing. We can look at the awesome shop here really quick. If we look, it's possible to do better looking buildings. I'm just not dedicated enough to that yet. I know where we're going and it's not accessible. This is not a power slug we can get. It is right there. And we have to explode it to open it up. It's yellow though. Yeah. Oh, we can reach it. Oh, that's fun. Or we haven't used crystals up until this factory because I wasn't concerned about like the max efficiency stuff. The overclocking that we unlocked, it was shown, I believe, in the episode 1. We unlocked overclocking and underclocking. So that all getting used now. Ouch. Oh, pillberries.
Potential edible collected. If consumed before authorized as compatible with the human digestive system by Fixit, the consumer is responsible for any and all consequences. Research it in the MAM to establish classification and potential application.
Oh god, I'm gonna die if I fight this guy.
Unknown crystalline mineral collected. This mineral is composed of the same chemical elements as quartz and may yield similar industrial functions. Research it in the MAM to establish classification and potential application. The astrobiologist Dr. D.M. Mercer was the first to recognize the presence and probable nature of these alien artifacts. These chain-melted state spheres are named in his honor. Each sphere emits a unique signal. Research it in the MAM to establish locally appropriate classification and application.
remain as little progress as possible. Now, obviously, we're exploring.
Potential edible collected. Reminder that look and smell alone do not provide sufficient data to determine exact risk of consumption. Just because it looks like you can eat it, does not mean it won't eat you. Research it in the man to establish
Oh, God.
classification and potential application.
We have now cleaned up a ton. So, yeah. We made tons of progress in the sense that it is a lot more efficient and a lot better. But we made minimal progress in the sense that we're further along in the actual game. Alright, yeah, so during that stream we got a lot done. In case you couldn't tell, what we did was we took every machine that we built during the last video and made it again, except pretty, and we made it over here. So what we've got over here is, and now we need to get started with that complete phase 1 up in the top right, but before we do, one part of that stream was we did a little bit of exploring and we found some things. And I'm sure you saw that. But we found some quartz, we found some more Caterium. We found an item called a Mercer Sphere. I'm just going to take all of this and we're going to go to the MAM and research whatever we can real quick. So the first thing we found was quartz, and we have 10 quartz, so we're going to research that.
The crystalline mineral was a previously unknown variation of quartz, with uniquely large and flawless crystals, normally only found in synthetic quartz. The industrial application of this mineral will follow that of its synthetic counterpart, specifically in communication and exploration technologies.
The second thing we found was under alien technology, a Mercer Sphere.
Mercer Sphere analysis completed. Established local planetary signature of massage 2, AB, in the local Mercer Sphere signals, allowing them to be tracked by the object scanner. Mercer spheres can also transmit data between specific.
Witness our scripture, witness our windows. Have you come to defile our shrine? Sings a song,
Arguing the existence of intelligent alien life. While Fixit has figured out the method, all of the original data is still untranslatable.
We also, like I said, found some more Caterium.
Research completed. Caterium ingot recipe unlocked. New Caterium research available.
And a couple new types of nutrients.
This fruit, dubbed the paleberry due to its tendency to stay light in color even when ripe, is compatible with the human digestive system and has been added to the object scanner. Further research is available. This mushroom, dubbed bacon agaric due to its uncanny resemblance to raw bacon, is compatible with the human digestive system and has been added to the object scanner. Further research is available.
Alright, so that's all the research we can do right now, and we're just going to stash everything of that manner back in our little chest there. Now that we've done enough research, we can get started on phase 1, in which we need to produce 50 smart plating here. Now smart plating is produced with the reinforced iron plate, which we already have a machine for, and the rotor, which is a similar machine that we're going to set up now. Now, before we get started with anything, I'm going to be building this backwards, because all we need is the bare minimum. One thing I did during the stream was maximize everything for efficiency. I want to show you how to do that with this video. Now, the best way to do this, of course, is to work backwards. Now, we know all we're creating is rotors. So we need 20 iron rods per minute and 100 screws per minute. So let's start with iron rods. I throw down one constructor right here, and I have it making iron rods. It's going to make 15 per minute. So if I throw down 2, one next to the other, we make a total of 30 per minute. So what we can do is take this clock speed and target 10 per minute on each of them, And now together, they make just 20 per minute. Now we'll take a little merger and just set that up to combine everything together. And then we need to do the same for screws. Now if we take a constructor, we throw it right here, we know to make cast screws, we make 50 per minute in one machine. So we want 2 machines that together make a total of 100 per minute. And that means we need a total of 25 iron per minute. Link up that merger real quick. We know we need 25 iron for screws and 20 iron for... We know we need 25 iron for screws and 20 iron for iron rods. So we need to take our miner Mark 1, set it up right here, and target 45. Now we take a smelter, line 1 up there, iron ingots. We're going to target 20 per minute, and then the other one here. Then we're going to build a second beside it, put iron ingots in, and target 25 per minute. Now all we need to do is line up a splitter, link it all up, and then link up splitters, one from the 20 to the rods, and one from the 25 to the screws. And now everything's set up. The only thing we're missing, of course, is power. So we hook up our miner, and a separate one for our smelters, and a separate one for each of our constructors here, and then one final one for our assembler. And then at the end, of course, we want one storage container. Now that should all just start running right to it immediately. Eventually we're going to get a backup, a backup from this one, because this is receiving actually somewhere around 22.5 iron per minute. And this is also receiving 22.5, but this can only handle 20, so this is going to back up, and then this will start receiving what it actually needs. So until then, we won't be running at max efficiency, but it's about as efficient as we can handle without some items that come later in the game. Now we have our rotors. We are going to, instead of rebuilding our whole... Now that we have our rotors running, instead of rebuilding the whole machine we made specially for reinforced plates, we are going to just pop over here where we have that whole machine ready, and we can just route some conveyor belts here. Now let's look over here real quick. One thing to note is conveyor belts. We didn't talk about this already, but if we look at buildings here and we find the conveyor belt Mark 1, we can see that it transports only up to 60 resources per minute. Now these are both producing 50 per minute, which means these two lines are just fine. But this one is supposed to transport 100, because 50 plus 50 is 100. So this needs to actually be a Mark 2. That will limit all of this from backing up, which will increase the efficiency of the machine. And now we can just place down one more assembler right here. Set it up for smart plating. Now that needs 2 rotors every minute, which we can just route right there. We can actually see this produces 4 per minute. So we'll be going slightly above max efficiency, which is why it's good we have a storage container there. And the other thing we need is reinforced plates, which are actually coming down this line, catching up to us right now. So we can just route that in. And I'm sure we're producing more than 2 per minute, but we're definitely routing 60 per minute because we have such a backlog stored up. Now if I just grab some power from this pole to that assembler, we can take a conveyor belt, and we want to take it all the way Now we can take this conveyor belt and route it directly into the space elevator, which is where we need to put our 50 smart plating. But since we know that we're actually producing more rotors than we need, one thing we can do to decrease the amount of time it takes to get to that magic 50 number is take this power shard and use it. Now I don't know if we did this on stream or not, but we can see. But we definitely started using it on stream. We unlocked power shards and overclocking. Now with one power shard, we can bump it up to 150%, which means we're actually using 3 rotors per minute, 3 reinforced iron plates per minute, and producing 3 spark plating per minute. But if we actually go on a little research journey for a new power slug, we can find another to get us to that magic number 200, where we're producing at max efficiency. Spiders! Oh no! Oh, there are 2 here. That's nice. Let's grab this sulfur.
Unknown chemical element collected. This non-metallic and multivalent element seems to be present only in a solid state and exhibits a most pungent smell. It is fortunate Fix-It helmets are of such high quality. Research it in the MAM to establish classification and potential application.
And a force, oh my gosh. This is like blue power slug heaven. Bauxite is important, let's grab that. Now we can make 5 new power shards. Now we're just gonna go right over here to this machine, throw another crystal in, and bump it up to 200%, meaning we take 4 rotors, which is the max we can take, while still remaining efficient. Now I'm just gonna sit around and watch this trickle in, but you can go ahead and jump forwards a bit. And that is actually number 50, and I thought I had cut it off so that no more would come, but we'll just have to deal with it for now. Now we can see in the space elevator that this is completed. We've loaded all our cargo, so now we need to seal it.
Welcome to the Project Assembly Pioneer Progress presentation. Congratulations, the Phase 1 project part shipment is now ready for delivery. On delivery, Phase 1 will be completed and the distribution platform will be constructed. After completion of Phase 1, the technologies of Tiers 3 and 4 will become available in the hub. Highlights are automated power, steel production, personnel transportation, and many more. Completing Phase 2 of Project Assembly is your next main objective. New project parts will need to be produced and delivered to the space elevator as you have done previously. Continue to construct, automate, explore and exploit for a better Fix-It future.
Okay, well I don't think that was very necessary. But now we can send that up.
Phase 1 of Project Assembly completed. This is only the beginning of Project Assembly, the first step towards saving the day. You have performed adequately so far. Reminder, not only is Fix-It saving humanity, it is saving all of Earth, including kittens and puppies. It is statistically likely that you appreciate the continued existence of kittens and/or puppies. Continue the work for their sake. Continue the work for Fix-It. It is time to start the work on Phase 2 of Project Assembly.
Alright, well, it's time to start the work on phase 2. And if we look up there, we can actually see we need 1000 smart plating. Luckily, we just actually set up a machine that makes a bunch of smart plating. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hook this conveyor belt back up, because I really had forgotten that. I did not realize I would need more smart plating, and I had unhooked the whole thing. But if we just hook that back up, throw this extra one in there, we can just leave this running until we get phase 2 done. Or at least until that part of phase 2 is done. And now we can work on the actual contents of phase 1, which are tiers 3 and 4. Now the very first one we want to do is coal power. Now coal power is going to eliminate need for this entire machine, our biomass power generator here. But we're actually completely out of leaves and wood to craft into biomass, which means we need, before we can completely eliminate need for it, we need to go on a massive biofuel collection spree. So we're going to go ahead and just start that now. And yeah, I will see you in one moment when that is done. Alright, well that was a big excursion that resulted in a decent amount of wood, an even more decent amount of leaves. We didn't even get to use up all the solid biofuel we brought, which I would say is a plus. And during that time, we actually completely ran out of excess biofuel. Luckily, we have tons. Like, there's nothing to worry about. We like barely ran it. These had like 199 left as we got here, I'm pretty sure. And these will start backing up pretty quickly. But now that we've refilled that, I think we need to start working on this tier 3 coal power, which actually requires all things that we already have, like 150 iron plates, which I can actually do right now with stuff I have on hand, or 500 wires, which we can go over here and grab. While we're over here, I actually want to level up all the storage here because I'm pretty sure we were starting to run out of space. And then in order to get 50 rotors, one thing we want to do is decrease the efficiency of this, so this goes down to using just 2 per minute. And then any excess, since we're still producing 4 per minute, can go into a storage container we'll just throw down right here. We can put down a splitter right there, throw that there, and now it will only receive 2 per minute, so it'll only need 2 per minute. Then we can throw those extra shards in here. Throw these cables into here. And then all we have to do is wait on 50 rotors. Now I'm getting a bit bored of waiting, and trust me, it is not full. It is not 50 yet. But one thing we can do is we can look at the next milestone, vehicular transport, which I don't really care about, but plus 3 inventory slots is good, and we need to complete all of tier 3 and tier 4. But if we look at this, modular frames, these are pretty simple, reinforced iron plates and iron rods. So all we really need is 12 iron rods per one we produce. So if I just go into my rotor supply here and grab 4 so that we can build a little assembler here, we can right here throw an assembler for modular frames. Right here, throw a splitter, which will allow us to just throw all the reinforced iron plates we need in there. We can bring some power over here. The other thing we need is iron rods, and we need 12 per minute. So if I just make a constructor, I'll throw it right here. It'll make iron rods, and it'll target 12 per minute. We'll see that we need 12 more iron. Well, 12 iron per minute. So if we just really quickly hook that up, we can actually do that really easily. See, we've got enough room to just bump this up to 67. Take the extra line from that splitter, pop it right there, and then pop it right there. And eventually that'll back up, we'll be at max efficiency, and we will have our modular frames. Alright, we've got our 50 rotors, so if we just take those over here to the hub.
Milestone reached. Power production can now be fully automated by burning coal, which has been added to the resource scanner. Water is also necessary to run the coal-powered generator and will require a network of pipelines to be transported from a water source. To assist with locating and identifying water, Fixit has compiled this guide. Water is a somewhat reflective liquid and it may have thick vegetation growing nearby. To test if something is water, try touching it. If it is not solid and does not corrode your suit, it is probably water.
Well, that was useful. Anyways, now what we can do is we can search for coal, and I'm going to do that now. I don't know if there will actually be any coal nearby, but I know there's water nearby. Alright, coal is only 600-ish meters away. That's actually very nice. There's allegedly something attacking me over here, but I don't... Ooh, big stinger. We might die in this fight. Yep. Okay. I think we can surely finish that creature off without worrying about, like, dying a second time, but we might want to start investing into food pretty soon. Now, there's that big boy. Here you are. Oh, we've died again. Okay, so before we charge back into that fight and die one more time, let's actually look for some more pale berries, because pale berries are a good food source we can start up using. That will essentially mean we can heal, which is very important. Don't know whether the pale berry was no plant there, but if we just grab all the food around here. Now, one thing you might notice in the top right, the pod, well, now in the top left, the pod has just returned, which basically means we can just load up that next level as much as needed, or at least start it up and start loading as much as we can, and get like 3 extra inventory slots, which should help us out. Let's throw the extra quartz and caterium in here, grab the extra foodstuffs we had over here. Now we can just load up those iron plates, and now we're just waiting on 100 wires, and now we can get started on the death crate. Now what I'm going to do, bacon agaric heals the most, so you see if we eat it, it gets 2. So we're going to keep that on hand, but real quick right now we're going to eat 2 of these berries so that we can have full health as we're going in. Now where is that big boy spider? Where is the big boy spider? Oh, this is actually a great spot because it's like right next to water. We can come back with some materials for coal power stuff. You can see over on the right we've got everything we need listed out. We're actually going to need to bring power down here for any of this to start working. But what we can do right now is we can throw down 2 miners here, hook them both up to 1 power pole. Okay, here's deep enough for a water extractor.
That may indeed be water. Try submerging your arm. If it does not dissolve, that will narrow down the range of possibilities. Or you could just pipe it to a coal-powered generator and see what happens.
We need to power the water extractors, and then we go over to power, and we throw down...
Interesting, most pioneers already had coal power set up by this point because they understood their responsibility to humanity. Adjusting pioneer attitude metrics. Reminder, coal-powered generators require coal.
We'll throw down 2 here right now. Then we go to logistics and we add this at 7. We can make a junction right here. Then connect that there, that there.
Fix-it pipelines can contain any fluid, including the water necessary for coal-powered generators. Note: water does not flow upwards by itself. While water extractors provide some lift, to truly defy gravity, consider the use of pipeline pumps.
This we shouldn't need any lift on, so these should all work once they start working. Then if we throw another thing right here, we can go and make a coal powered generator there and a coal powered generator there. Connect both of those up there. Then grab a splitter, that to there, that to there, that to there. Another pipeline junction right here and right here. Then that to there, this to there, this to there, and this to there. And now, as soon as we hook all this up to our normal power, we should just be able to let this run and it'll work. Alright, so if we look here, we can see the graph, we know it's running. So if we just take this connection, put it up to right there, we see everything starts running. Now as we see that, we are going to see this start to happen. Now back here, when we didn't have coal power running, all our production matched our consumption because that's what biomass generators do. But up here we start to see our production is spiking up above our consumption because coal power doesn't care about what's being used. Coal power just puts stuff out to the grid. It puts a flat number out and we use however much of it we use. Now we'll just leave that running, let it do its thing. We won't need to pay that any mind because it's completely self-sufficient at this point. Now that it's started, it should supply enough power that it can run itself. But if we look over here, there's actually a power slug over here, and I want to grab that just because, well, I've seen it. But we've got 2 new types of enemies. That is an even harder fluffy-tailed hog, and that is called a hatcher. It's a very different enemy than we've encountered before. Now the hatcher, we've just seen, it hatches these little bee guys, but we've dealt with all of them.
Samples of unknown alien species acquired. It is unclear where on the flora or fauna spectrum it lies, but initial data suggests this might be a nest or an egg. Research the remains in the MAM to establish classification and potential countermeasures.
Come on, man, charge me. Charge me, come on, charge me. Come on, charge me. Are you broken, man? Okay. And now we can get up there with these foundations and pick up this yellow power slug. We mentioned in the stream, but that yellow power slug is actually capable of producing 2 power shards per slug because it's later in its lifetime. Now if we go over to the man and we look at alien megafauna, we can see the last alien megafauna basic research is the hatcher.
The remains researched belong to a plant-like organism hosting the larva of the flying crab, the most mature of which hatch when threatened. Hatcher remains can now be made into alien protein, and additional research may reveal options for improving pioneer safety during exploration.
We can actually see this structural analysis costs 5 DNA capsules, and I just accidentally crafted one. But the other 4 we can just make straight off of these alien proteins we've left lying around.
Research to develop the rebar gun is now available. When completed, you will be in possession of a tool effective against any local obstacles actively objecting to the Fix-It mission.
Now we can just go wait for the rotors for vehicular transport. And with that, we've got our 100 here, which we can slide into our inventory, hop right over here, and just pretty much just get this vehicular transport one. We're not gonna do anything with it because, I mean, we don't need vehicular transport.
Milestone reached. Tractors permit pioneers to move around the world in a manner similar to using legs, except with wheels and the rampant consumption of natural resources. They can also be automated to self-drive and deliver resources between truck stations, which in turn facilitate automation of loading, unloading, and refueling.
Great, okay. One thing I did while that was going on is I actually went ahead and got all these resources for enhanced asset security because I wanted to get the basic steel production one, but that includes 150 rotors, and that's just a bit too many rotors. So if I just select this, well, I can't put anything in yet, but we just wait that 3 minutes and 4 seconds. And now it's back, which means we can immediately banish it again by just throwing all our wires and rods and plates and just send it straight back.
Milestone reached. The Xeno Basher is a direct upgrade from the Xeno Zapper. In the words of the engineer that first developed this tool, quote, "The Zapper kind of electrocutes things, the Basher straight up smacks stuff, while also electrocuting them," unquote. It is beneficial during encounters with aggressive fauna and has been tested thoroughly. The engineer's noble sacrifice for Xeno research will not be forgotten, whoever they were.
So, now, if we turn off this little thing, we can see the Xeno Basher costs 2 Xeno Zappers and 5 modular frames, more than what we have already. So if we just make one more Xeno Zapper, and we can take the other one straight out of our hands, we can run all the way over to where we've got just modular frames on modular frames sitting around. Take 5 out. I believe this is actually the first time I've had empty hands during this video or the last, which is just funny. Now we can just create one Xeno Basher right here. And boom. Now let's start the advanced steel production one, which we can't put anything into, but we know we can gather materials for it. And now that it's back, we can even just go ahead and throw some new stuff in here. Now the only thing we're waiting on, once again, is 150 rotors. And we've got our 150. I actually, I increased the amount of mess we have right now. I plopped down another miner here, and then I made a second machine that this one creates more reinforced iron plates, because we were using all of the reinforced iron plates that could be made here, and I just hooked it up to this line. And then I made another machine over here for rotors so that that would go a bit faster, and then I hooked up storage here so I can keep producing more and more and more and more reinforced plates. Now if we just throw our 150 rotors in here and send it off.
Milestone reached. Coal and iron can be combined in the foundry to start steel production. Project part number 2, the versatile framework, can only be created via automation, not at a crafting bench. Delivering these to the space elevator is essential if we are going to complete phase 2 of project assembly and save the day. Fix-It and humanity is relying on you.
Now what we just unlocked there was all the steel stuff, essentially. And literally everything we have to make in tier 4, we have to submit, includes steel. So we're just gonna start with with the blueprints, because this one's probably gonna be pretty easy. Like, everything except those steel beams are already automatically being produced. And then, for steel, we've gotta head down to the coal zone. Hello, coal power I just built. I'm here to change you. For the better, I pinky promise. As you can see, we are already backing up because we're producing 60 coal with these miners, but we're actually only using 30 coal with two of these power plants. So what we're going to do is we're going to break that line and just replace it with this line, and now this one will produce just enough for all four of these. We can throw that extra coal we've picked up in here. And then what we can do is search for the other component we need, iron. And it's actually right up there, so I'm just gonna throw a lift right there. And then from over here, we can make a little ramp. And there are hatcheries over here.
Potential edible collected. Eating it and surviving does not count as a valid field test and does not generate enough data for Fixit to make an informed decision. Research it in the MAM to establish classification and potential application.
Alright, now we've got all the materials we need. So if we create one foundry right here, for now we'll just pipe all the coal and all the iron into it. We can set it to steel ingots, we can give it some power, we can see it creates 45 per minute. So if we create one constructor here, we can set it to steel beams, which uses 60 per minute. We can move a power pole over here, set it to produce 11.25 per minute. Send those directly into that storage container. We can create another foundry up here. Take a splitter off the coal, take a splitter off the iron, make steel ingots with that, place down another constructor, which will make steel pipes, have it target 30 per minute using 45 steel ingots per minute, drag a new power line over here, and then have it go into that storage container, which gives us room to put a splitter off. And then finally, we can throw an assembler right here, which I don't actually need right now. We can actually set up a splitter here, bring that conveyor all the way right here, which is where I completely run out of iron plates, and then we can head up and grab some more. And now we can take that conveyor, now that we have materials, and we can extend it all the way up these massive staircases to our home base. So if I just bring that over here, I'm just gonna sneak it by all of this. If I throw it right here, and then I throw an assembler down right over here, link that up. If we start making versatile frameworks off of that power line, we need steel beams, which we've just hooked up, but we also need modular frames. Luckily enough, we have way too many sitting around. So I'm going to create a new storage container here. And in the middle I'm going to put a splitter. I'm going to link one side up to the storage container and one side up to that assembler. And then I'll link... I'm not even going to try to redo that. I'm just going to make this mess to work around it. This is beautiful. And now, we're creating those versatile frameworks we need 1,000 of. So we can just take a conveyor belt and plop it in this second option. Now we've got 409 of our smart plating that's already just gone in because we've had this up for so long. And 0 versatile frameworks, but eventually that number will become more than 0. And now that we've completed all of Tier 3, we are going to leave Tier 4 off until the next episode. I will be streaming today, at noon Eastern Time, 1 hour after this video releases, at twitch.tv/CottonCandieBoop, which you can find in the description. But until then, I will see you all later. Goodbye. Boop.